Hi everyone, Mature Simmer here. So I'm sitting here within a maple syrup cell point I've set up here next to the walking trail. Figured it might bring a little bit more business along. Alright, so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and work on getting some more water to the maple syrup production here, because I need that to be operating. And then the other thing that I'm going to try to target is, I think if I just swing around here, go around that pump, that'll work. I don't think I'll get hung up on it. So I'll let that fill. But the other thing I'm going to need to figure out is I'm going to need that wagon to do the harvest. It's still 2 or 3 days away, but I don't think the chickens are going to eat all that feed. So you can see they've got 525 liters, and that not taking more space is a problem. So we've talked about potentially a silo of some sort. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to move this trailer, because I think this little clearing here that I don't need to worry about any more trees on, that might be a good place for a silo. And I found one that I believe should work, so we'll go ahead and work with that later as well. So I think that's a good spot for that. Hopefully by now we'll have gotten most of the water. Go ahead and get this water into the maple grove here. And it doesn't consume it too terribly quickly. So if we can fill it up, it should be in pretty good shape. So I'm going to go ahead and get the tank filling up again. It does take quite a bit to refill, but it's a small pump, and it's not as if we have to be in a huge hurry. So at this point you can see we've got 18,000 in the greenhouse, 12,000 in maple syrup, so we're in good shape there. This area here, or the field, is 5 of 6, so yeah, we've got 2 more to go. So I'm gonna kind of relax for the rest of the day. I'm gonna check back in the evening and see what the chicken feed looks like. Alright, so the chickens are in the red. In theory, at 25 an hour, I'm not bad. So in theory, that should get me 12 hours, which is not going to get me where I need to be, because that'll be 4 a.m. So I'm going to need to feed them before I roll the day over. Wow, this water is really slow. It doesn't go with the time, obviously. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and give them some more barley. Still not below 2,000. So as I said, we're going to have to empty this, because I don't think that's 2 troughs full. You can see our cell point down there lit up. If you're using this mod, you don't need that to sell. You can do what I'm doing, which is just like the greenhouse, set it to selling. But it does give you an additional ability to make things feel more real, so wasn't too bad from a cost perspective, so went ahead and did that. So before I wrap up today, I'm going to go ahead and get that silo in place. Alright, so I think that'll work. Alright, so we've got this silo here. This is a small grain silo, is what it's listed as. It said it's modeled after a Polish grain silo. and it has a capacity of about 25,000 liters, which should be more than enough for what we're really using it for, because I really only need it to store feed for the chickens. Everything else right now, being in survival mode and so forth, I'm going to go ahead and sell. So at this point, yeah, we're at 975 liters. We're doing great. Chickens are almost at puberty. So I woke up this morning, and what do I see? 120 baby chickens staring back at me. We've had some baby chicks. So we've now doubled our population. On top of that, we're ready to harvest. But as you can see, 500 capacity. Now if I go ahead and dump that, we're just going to get ourselves down to 900. So I need to go put this away, or I won't have anywhere for my soybeans. So I did get up bright and early today, at least for me. Normally I've been doing 8 a.m., but I decided I'd roll out of bed at 7, because I just didn't know how things would go today. Alright, so the trick with these silos, and of course, in Risu Forest, nothing is smooth, so I've got a bit of a lip here. This is where I dump, and I'm hoping I can make it. Alright, I can. Now we're on the point, you would say. So why isn't it working? Well, the trick with this silo is you have to unfold the features. So what that means is I need to open this blower, which then you can see connects up to the top and helps load the silo. Now I should then be able to put grain in. Obviously it's going to make me a liar here. So let's see if I can make this work. That would be really disappointing. Go by this way. There we go. Alright. So we'll dump there. And we've got 900 liters in our silo now. And so there's another item when we're unloading, which we'll take a look at later when we are doing that. But for now, I'll shut off the engine, because now I need to go harvest. So I'll run on over here. I'm still curious why. Let me turn that off so I can talk to you for a second. I'm curious why I can't jump to the vehicles, like they don't appear on the mini-map. You can see the trailer appears, but the tractor or this harvester do not, and it could be just because of the way the modders wrote them up. I'm assuming that's what it is, but it could also be some sort of a map issue. So there's not a lot of other vehicles on the map, so I can't really test things. The forklift by the store I can jump to, but not these. So let's get through this wonderful startup sound, and we'll start peeling the soybeans off the field here. So the good news is, obviously, with soybeans, they sell for a good amount, a high dollar amount. What I don't know is if I wanted to store them, if I could store them in the silo. Because it does say grain silo. Technically, I don't know that I'd consider soybeans grain. I also then don't know if I'd be able to do corn and sunflowers. So I'll have to take a look at all that in the future as well. So it'll be interesting to see how much I can get off this field. Soybeans don't tend to be extremely high yield because they're worth a bit, so it kind of tends to function that way, as things that are more worth more per thousand tend to come in lower yields, so that, you know, it's just kind of supply and demand, right? We got deer walking around in the field. Or running around, whatever. Oh, I think I drifted off. I did. Don't want to be leaving anything on the field, especially on a low yield crop like what I just talked about, so. This is always fun up here. So, we'll see how this goes, but yeah, the issue becomes, at this point, the next thing I really need is probably, I'm not sure, I guess I'll have to keep thinking about it, but I do feel like, you know, we're making some progress. There's our maple field, or maple grove down there, so I can't expand there, but again, we're on the edge of our property. We can really head out, you know, in the direction I can't really clearly look at through the trees there, but so one trip around, we've got about 1,800 liters, so definitely not a ton, but not bad, you know, 25% of the harvester. It is throwing it, you know, the numbers are rolling along pretty quickly. We're gonna have to scoop up the barley and keep feeding the chickens, so that'll be good. This is definitely way more workable than the previous harvester. You just can't say, you know, being the second harvest with this, how much more enjoyable it is, and I feel like I can move along here, so it's definitely a good thing. Now, the one thing I want to take a look at, look at the chickens. Once I'm going straight for a bit here. I'm just gotta keep bouncing back. Okay, so we're at 1,000. My question will be, when it rolls over and they eat, now that I have more chickens, is it going to use more feed? I would assume it will. And if that's the case, that could get really interesting depending on what it does. Because we have double the chickens. The question is, does that mean I now use double the feed? Because it was 25 an hour, which basically means I could get 40 hours out of the trough, so not even 2 days. If I truly double my food because I've doubled my chickens, now I'm down to 20 hours, which isn't even a day, which means I'm going to have to top the chickens off every day, which starts to get a little crazy, and that chicken coop holds more chickens than that. So, I don't know. I guess we'll find out in 7 minutes, right? So, let me check back with you then. We'll see what happens. You'll get to see how far I've gone in now 6 minutes. And I'll see you in a bit. Alright, so I basically made it once around. But wow, yeah. So 950 liters. I am consuming at twice the rate. So what that means, theoretically, unless something changes, which I think would be weird, is that at the full 500 that this chicken coop will handle, I'm going to be in excess of 100 liters an hour. You know, not by a lot, but because it's just going to be 20 more chickens, so, you know, for math, we could basically say, you know, it'll be 100, because it's, you know, maybe it'll be 105 or something. But that means I basically have 10 hours, and technically a little bit less. That doesn't make a lot of sense. That's going to be a problem. Because that means I need to feed them twice a day. So, I guess we'll see if that's what pans out, but I'm not real thrilled about that right now. Alright, so I'm going to get this field done. Or, well, I'm going to get moving along until I'm full, and then we'll go deliver some beans. We'll see what we get for them. Alright, so here we are. Not a whole lot left to go. That was weird. Pouring out over my head. But 7,500 liters in the harvester is what fills it up. We know these are substantially smaller, so there you go, 3,150 liters. So I'm going to get 2 plus trailers of soybeans out of just the harvester that I have there. I'm thinking I should have enough on the field to get 3, so maybe I'll get 3 and a little bit more. That would be excellent. See how everything plays out. Oh boy. So, heading up the hill. I'll turn a little bit to decrease the slope, because otherwise it's going to a crawl again. This is just such a struggle for this tractor to be able to pick up. Again, I've got 170 horsepower on this right now. The challenge is twofold from a bigger tractor. One is price. That's the first thing, which is obviously always the barrier in a survival challenge. It's always, what can I do with the limited funds I have? You know, eventually you get to that point where you've got yourself a real farm, and you've got enough going on that now you're generating a lot of things, but we're certainly not there yet. I mean, I'm doing everything I can to improve the situation. Obviously the maple syrup is helping. The eggs are going to help. Once I get those delivered, we'll see how that goes. I'm imagining that's going to happen in the next 1 or 2 episodes. Let's see how we're doing on the soybeans. Again, they're usually pretty good. So $4,600. So we had a little over 3,000. So about 1,500, maybe a little under, per 1,000 liters. So that's not bad. So we'll head down, get back. But yeah, I've got another. I thought I saw that tree coming out of there. Can I get through here? Goodness. So much fun going through this forest. So yeah, we have the cost, and then the other thing that is evidenced by banging into the trees, just the space and the reality of what is usable in this location. You've got a heavily forested area. We're not going to get any wide implements. We also know we can't get the implements out of the sell point, given that it's fenced, and we obviously had an issue even with the harvester getting it. Oh, I'm looking at the harvester and didn't see that tree at all. So there's a little bit of a reality of, even if I could afford 300,000 or 400,000 for a large tractor that was 400 or 500 horsepower, you know, at the end of the day, I don't know that I need something quite that large, but I really am starting to feel that my next barrier now is the tractor in the power that we have, because it just takes so long. Because you know, obviously now what would be nice too is a bigger trailer, but I can't even tow a trailer that has 3,100 liters in it. I'm struggling to get up the hill with that. So, you know, it'd be the same as we did with the bales and the logs and everything else. I mean, I add more weight, a bigger trailer weighs more to begin with. Then you start putting the crops in it. You know, if I'm going straight up this hill here, which is the sharpest point, you know, I'm down to 8, maybe. Looks like maybe I'll stick at 8, but I was expecting to go down to 7. You know, and it's better than the 2 or 3 we were going prior to upgrading to this, but I still need something better, because at this point, if I could go 19, I would know, hey, I'm not being limited by my equipment. I'm going as fast as I can for a tractor, and not a lot of tractors are faster. I mean, there are certainly some, like I'm sure if we bought, you know, a JCB or a Challenger, something like that, you know, I know some of those can go faster, but I need the horsepower, so I would think I need to at least consider something that's close to double. 300, 350 horse versus the 170 I have now. And, you know, I'll have to see what I can find. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get everything done. I should be at least over $30,000 before the harvest is done. But I'll see you in a bit. Alright, so I have 2,356 more liters after the 2 full loads. So I didn't get 3 full loads like I was pretty sure I would. So still a challenge estimating what we're getting. And again, it was, you know, about 4,500, 4,600. So we're going to be at over 10,000 off this field, but certainly not something that's going to make us get a whole lot of immense progress right now, because as we were talking, you know, tractors as they sit are $200,000, $300,000, $400,000. If I'm making 10,000 every year off my crop, that's going to take 30 or 40 years just to afford a tractor. And you know, there's a little bit of time that comes off of that, because once again I can sell this tractor, so there's a little bit of movement that I get back. But you know, by the time I'm done and the wear and tear this tractor has, you know, am I going to get more than... Oh, I just turned blind, and I just saw where I needed to go on the map and turned a little too sharply and ended up in the tree. Because, yeah, I've actually swung too far wide. Went right by where I need to go. So hopefully we can get in there without any more problems. That was good. But yeah, coming out of here, we're not going to be able to get large implements and so forth. So let's see. Where will we end up? Well, I don't think we'll hit 35. So, you know, it's a positive, which is good, but didn't even make 34. So, oops, a little too wide of a swing there. So that's the conundrum I've got, is I'm feeling like I need to get my fields larger. Those are still my income producing assets and where I'm going to get the biggest impact over time. You know, obviously with a 40, 50 acre field, I have the potential of making a $100,000 profit a year. But getting to that space and being able to work it, because at this point, you know, I've already parked the harvester. I just need to get back here to the field. I can already see it. Whoops, almost tree coming out of nowhere. So, but I'm gonna go around the silo now, and we're gonna get ready to fill this up with some barley. Actually, you know what? I may not do that because I've got to do this barley pile, and you know, there's only 900 liters or whatever in here. So I think I'm actually going to leave this, and I'm going to go ahead and scoop up a shovel full of barley off the ground. I need to ultimately get that off the ground before I start worrying about what's in my silo. My silo's, you know, a good thing right now, so... Alright, so part of it is, yeah, it's just a lot of dancing around in that pile. I thought I had the shovel down, and I was just going over pieces of it. So I'm hoping I'm going to even be able to recover all that barley off the ground. So, I mean, it was something I needed to do right away, but not what I want to be dealing with normally. So I'm definitely happy with the silo investment. But we've got several problems brewing here. We've got a chicken coop that has a good amount of chickens, which is great. Because, you know, now we're coming up on, we're on our third pallet. It looks like, I'm hoping it's going to go ahead and let us do 6 of them. But it may only let us do 5. You know, it's finally 10 o'clock, so it took us 3 hours to go ahead and get all that work done. I'm going to leave this for now because later in the day I'm going to need to do stuff. But right now we're at the point where we can't even go a whole day before the chickens will run out of food. So, you know, feeding them at night, I'm kind of going to have to keep feeding them earlier and earlier because I'm only going to get like 20 hours, and that's until I get more chickens, which is going to happen pretty soon, I think. Well, I guess we haven't started the reproduction cycle yet. These still have to get to puberty, the brand new chicks. So I guess we've got some time, but still, you know, we'll be up to the 500 before we know it. And so, you know, I do have the wood cell point nearby, so I can go ahead and remove some more trees. Maybe square off this field, keep heading out that way. I don't know that, obviously I can't go this way. I've kind of blocked myself, but clearly that steep hill is not something I want to be working in my field. So it gets steeper beyond the hill there. And we've got a tree floating totally in the air there. I have not noticed that before. So, a few map problems here and there, but let me see. I'm going to run over to this barley pile. So I'm not sure. I don't think it's going to tell me, pointing at the pile, like, yeah, it's... I don't know what I have left here. Looks like that's some straw or something. I'm sure that was something that got output from the harvester. You know, and we've got 900 liters in here. 899. One thing I don't know, too, I'm going to have to figure out is, can that thing store corn and whatever? Because that'll determine if I ever want to go in that direction. But at this point, I think I'm going to get closer to the end of the day. We're going to see what things look like. And definitely feed the chickens at that point. Alright, so yeah, we're down to 500 liters. Obviously they don't age, except at the end of the day. I keep checking that as if something is going to happen. Oop, I need to turn it on to move the bucket. So yeah, we're going to empty half the bucket, is basically what'll happen. So we'll top off the chickens, just kind of increasing that angle of attack. Whoops. So there we go. We'll shut that off, because in the morning we'll just be able to dump the rest of it. But at this point, until I get a better tractor, like expanding the field is going to be I'm not sure that I want to do that, because I'm going to have more, and at this point I need 2.5 trips or so, 2 1/3, every time I fill the harvester. So it kind of seems in Farming Simulator we're always chasing that situation where we've increased things in one area where I can harvest this field now in 3 hours, but then my bottleneck now moves to another one, which is I need a stronger tractor to pull potentially bigger implements. I'm limited, as we talked about, however, with how big I can go. But I need something that'll pull up the hill a little bit better. But then my guess is we're going to buy a bigger trailer, and we're going to have the same problem where we're not going to be able to fill it. So I don't think I can get a trailer that's much larger. But if I can do something that'll haul 10,000 liters, you know, maybe that will work with a larger tractor, and maybe it won't be any faster, but it's really a different situation if I can do that than if I'm just hauling 3,000 liters at a time. So for now, I'm going to end the day, and I'm going to take a peek and see if I can find a medium tractor that might serve my needs, and at least we'll have something to shoot for as I start to figure out what my next steps will be on the farm. So I'll see you next time.